Hey, Wolfpack fans, Marcy Bullock with part 2 of applying to graduate school. Let's get this mic over here so you can hear me. All right, so the admissions process. We've got the application you're going to be submitting to the graduate school, and you're also going to find out that in many cases, the graduate school will send your application to the department that you're interested in. So let's say you want to get your PhD in biochemistry. You apply to the graduate school, but the essay that you write, your statement of purpose, that all is going to be sent to the department that you're most interested in attending. And the department makes the final recommendation on whether or not you will be admitted. So you'll then hear back from the graduate school if you were admitted. So let's think about it this way. When you are writing that statement, you want to write it specifically to the faculty member whose lab you want to work in biochemistry. So maybe you've read their publications, you know specifically that they're doing some work in monoclonal antibodies, and that's what you're most excited about. In your essay, you will address that specifically, and that will give you an edge, especially if you've already visited there. Admission to graduate school does involve you already having your bachelor's degree and taking whatever tests are required by that program. So in many cases, the graduate record exam is required, but for MBAs, it might be the GMAT. There are many different tests, so you'll want to look at that admissions page to make sure that you have taken the appropriate test by the appropriate date. Also, you're going to be asked for references, people that can support you. They may be asked to write you a letter of recommendation, and that may be something that you'll want to think about ahead of time is, who will I ask to be my reference? This is someone that knows me really well. And we have a separate video on getting recommendations, so you'll want to watch that one. Departmental capacity, that will be impacted by whether or not you are chosen, and maybe how many grants they have for teaching assistantships or graduate assistantships. And it is typically a competitive pool. So grade point average, it's usually around 3.0 for graduate school, but some people get accepted lower, so you don't want to close any doors if you are lower. You might even take some post-baccalaureate classes to improve your chances of getting in, but typically they will be analyzing your transcripts. So they're going to look at how you did in all your various classes, and they're also going to look at your performance patterns. So maybe you started off really poorly because you started in the College of Engineering, and then you found out that that really wasn't your passion, and then your grades have gone up, up, up. That upward trend can definitely help you when being analyzed for graduate school. So don't assume they're just going to look at my overall GPA. They're going to look at your performance patterns from start to finish and all of your strengths and weaknesses. So we want to look here at the GRE. There are typically the general GRE tests and the subject test. You might be asked to take one or both. It's very similar to that SAT you took when you were applying to college. International students, you may need to take the TOEFL, so you will want to research the times that those are available and also the scores that are needed for you. So there are some ways that you can improve your GRE test scores. Typically, taking some of the practice exams ahead of time is a good idea. So go to gre.org and look at maybe some software that you can buy, or if you'd like to purchase software programs from a specific place like the Stanley Kaplan Group or Princeton Review, you can also do that. You can also buy those programs ahead of time, and then that can give you an edge, but they're pretty expensive. So if you can study on your own and you're motivated on your own, you don't necessarily have to pay someone else to help you prepare. Now let's get back into those letters. Like I said, there is a separate video on letters of recommendation, but just a quick overview here is you will be requested, like, who will support you for graduate school? You'll be asked that. So you want to be thinking about who you know well enough that can support you, that knows your aptitude for graduate studies. So hopefully you did really well in their course and they can compare you to prior students. Also, you want to think about a letter. sometimes they fill out a form, but in many cases they write a whole letter, like 4 or 5 paragraphs. I know when I'm asked to write a letter, I typically spend about an hour doing it. So it's someone that you know really well, maybe your advisor, a research supervisor, or someone that taught you in a class. Other people you could ask would be a former instructor, a manager from an internship, faculty members, or people from a department that you wish to enter. The key is who knows you the best. So make sure you check out that video on letters of recommendation before you pick your person, and give them plenty of time to write that letter of recommendation. Then think about the goal statement. That might either be a statement of purpose or a personal statement, and it varies. For example, for medical school, they might call it a personal essay, and that's where you write all about your clear expression of your goals. Now, if it's graduate school, you need to focus on research because that's what you're going to do in graduate school. Remember that if you're getting a PhD, they're investing in you as a research scholar, and they're going to be most likely providing funding for you to get that degree. So you'll want to focus in on what your goals are as related to research and present all the progress that you've had on your career goals. Make sure that everyone has no errors, so spell check misses some things. Make sure that you have that viewed by several different people. You can cite publications. You can also look for ways to improve your essay by having other graduate students read it and give you feedback on it. It's a really important document. So in part 3 of this video, we're going to move into how you can finance graduate school. So check that video out next.